What if the kindest person in the room was also the most successful? Halli Thorleifsson built one of Iceland's leading digital agencies, then sold it to Twitter. He's worked with some of the world's biggest brands, advised governments, and launched a non-profit that's now made over 2,000 public spaces more accessible. His story went viral when he was publicly let go from Twitter, but that's just one chapter. In this conversation, Halli reflects on how personal loss, disability, and burnout shaped a worldview rooted in empathy and service. We talk about the strength it takes to stay kind, the joy of lifelong friendships, the trap of overworking, and how creative people can avoid chasing mountains they don't actually want to climb. This one's a tender one. It's honest and quietly powerful. The kind of conversation that stays with you. This season of the Creative Boom podcast is proudly sponsored by James Cropper, the last mill standing in Britain for premium coloured paper. Its new colour source range puts designers first, giving you direct access to 50 stunning shades in a range of weights and textures straight from the mill. Incredible colour, crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Discover the paper that brings your ideas to life via paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com. So thank you for joining me today, Halli. Have I got that right, Halli?
That's pretty good, yeah.
It's pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty.
Well, I've heard every possible version, and that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay, I'll take that. But we're going to be talking about kindness as a superpower today, which I feel has been something that's resonated throughout your career and life. Why would you say kindness is a thing that guides you?
I would ask you back. Why do you think kindness is a good theme for our little chat?
Well, I kind of have been reading a lot about you, and I just feel like it's a thread that runs through everything that you've done. You know, that empathy and compassion and warmth and humour. There's a humanity to everything that you do. So I'm curious, where does that come from? Why do you lead with that warmth?
I think it probably comes from a few different things. I've had things go sort of wrong in my life. And I think that those kinds of things, sort of pain in general, and you know, I lost my mom. I have a pretty aggressive disease and other things that have happened. And I think with that, you get a shared sense of humanity, which I don't think you get when everything goes really, really well for you for a long time. And I think at least it's possible to go through something like that with a better understanding of our shared humanity.
Yeah, I think you probably, go through a bit of a dark side, don't you, where you think this is unfair. But then you realise quite quickly, if you go down that path, it can get even more ugly very quickly. So yeah, it's making peace with things, isn't it? And
yeah, accepting reality, and then understanding that you're not alone, that everyone has their own thing, that everyone is going through something. It might not be as dramatic as what I just talked about, but it's still it's important to them, and it matters to them. And I think if we are able to help each other, I think this life is easier to get through.
Was there a turning point when you said, right, I've got a choice here. I can either go down that path or I can go towards the light?
I mean, it's definitely, it's an internal conflict. I do get mad at my situation sometimes. And it's not a binary path. It's a choice you have to make constantly. But it is something that I went through a long period of time when I was drinking too much. I was using substances. I was very deeply depressed. And I think when I stopped drinking and doing that, I think that was one of the major turning points. But I think it's a choice you have to make every day. It's, there's things pop up and you have to decide if you choose anger or peace.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, pain is a terrible thing to live with. It can make you very bitter at times. I went through a nasty back injury last year and spent a lot of the time on the floor. I can not empathize 100% with what you've been through, but I can understand the kind of freedom that is taken away from you, and the looking out the window and being really frustrated with the situation and thinking, why it's not fair.
Did you get better? Are you
I'm
okay?
19 months post-injury and I'm still dealing with symptoms in my leg. But yeah, I'm getting there. Hopefully, like you describe, I make my peace with it every morning. You have a choice, don't you? You might have a moment where you think, oh, I can't be bothered today. It'd be easier to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely those moments, but you kind of have to keep going.
Yeah, you do. And work's a nice distraction.
Work is a very good. I mean, when I stopped drinking, I substituted my alcoholism with workahol.
Because you've had some successful ventures, haven't you?
I've had yes, some things I've done have worked out really well. Some things have not, but I think you don't do baseball in the UK, but my batting average is pretty good.
Yeah, we don't do baseball. I didn't realize you did baseball in Ireland.
We don't,
Iceland,
but
rather.
I've spent so much time in America, and I don't really watch sports, but all my sports analogies are Americanisms.
Right, okay. And before we were chatting, you were telling me that you're a big Oasis fan and you're going to Wembley.
Yeah, I'm going to go see Oasis at Wembley. It's been almost 30 years since I saw them last live. Very happy to get to see them again. I think I'm going with an old friend, someone I've known since I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh,
And so it's going to be, I think, a pretty, well, I hope so. I've followed the show so far, and everything seems to be going well.
are you going to dig out your old bucket hat?
Well, I don't think I had. Well, I'm not sure. I need to go through some old photos. I'm not sure if I had a bucket hat. I definitely had the haircut. I played guitar, and I had a guitar that I spray painted with the Union Jack
Nice.
to sort of copy Noel's guitar.
Was that your hero, Noel?
Yeah, the songwriter was. I was more. Definitely didn't have the voice of Liam, so I thought. I have a better chance of copying Noel.
Our heroes, eh? Yeah. They used to live in a house. And when they were first starting out, they used to live in a house down the way of where I lived in Manchester. And it was where they took that famous photograph of one of the album covers. Is it Definitely Maybe? It's quite interesting. And I did a podcast with the chap who was basically, he did all the kind of album covers.
Nice.
Really interesting. So if you want to listen to that, I think that would be
I'll go check
up
it
your
out.
street, as they say. So did you always like lead with this spirit, in all the ventures that you do? Because you've done some really wonderful things as well. You've got this amazing scheme in Iceland where you're trying to sort of make places more accessible.
Always, no, I don't think anyone is always one thing, but there's definitely, I try my best, is what I will say. I try my best to understand that I have, I grew up, we didn't have much when I was a kid, and I remember that feeling really well. I remember going to sleep hungry, and now that I've had some success and I have some money, I feel like it is my duty to give back to the society that was able to help me get to where I am today.
Do you think every creative has a duty to give back?
I think every human has, yeah. I think we all have. If we want to live in a society, I think if you want to go off on your own and live in the woods, somewhere remote, I think you can make a moral argument for that. But if you want to live in a society, I think we all have a duty to try and improve it in some way.
Yeah, it's very true. And do you feel that keeps you going, giving back? It's that you get out of it what you put in?
Yes, there's definitely, I mean, when you're not feeling well, I think, and if you're always focused on yourself and how you're doing, I think that can lead to some dark places. But if you're able to sort of go outside yourself and look around and see where you can be of use, that I think is not only good for the people around you, but I think it also helps yourself. And I think purpose is the biggest thing we all need as people. And if you find a purpose, that can guide you through a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah, it's true. I run Creative Boom because I wanted to support other creatives and help them out and help them to, grow and win clients or, develop their careers, whatever that might be. It's a small purpose, but it's something I love. It keeps me happy and satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful purpose. I think every person is creative, but I think with the people we call creatives, definitely need a lot of help.
What's your mission?
My mission, I'm not sure. I've since I mentioned purpose, I think the thing that I've been struggling with for the last year is I ran through through a string of sort of events, some of them of my own doing, some of them pure luck. I was able to achieve most of the things that I wanted to achieve, and I went through my bucket list, and I'm not sure what's left.
Wow, that's amazing. What kind of things did you do?
Well, it started off with me. I built a digital agency, and my dream there was much smaller than what we ended up doing.
Is this the one you sold to Twitter?
Yes, ended up selling that to Twitter. It grew really fast. We did some work that I'm really, really proud of, and we had some amazing both clients and employees, and that I really, really felt proud of what I built there. And I kept setting new goals that I felt were, I always wanted to have a mountain to climb, and I kept building these bigger mountains, and all of them kind of came true, which was fantastic. But also, it's hard to keep your passion going in that situation. And so I sold it to Twitter, and then I was at Twitter for a while, and then I started doing some of these things that had been on the back burner for a while. I had wanted to give back to Iceland as a society, which is just the place that I was able to grow up, go to school, and become whatever it is that I am. And I started a few different projects to do that. Like you mentioned, there's a project called Wrap Up, which is a nonprofit that I started. We build ramps. We actually just completed the project this year. It was supposed to be. We started off with 100 in downtown Reykjavik. We ended up doing almost 2,000 across the country.
Wow.
And that project went way beyond what I expected. We set the very audacious goal of 1,000, which I thought we wouldn't reach, but I thought it's good to have this very big goal. And we're starting to build, export that project to other countries. We're building in Ukraine and in Panama and a few other places.
Hopefully Manchester. Where they,
Well,
by the way, they prioritize profit over accessibility, because there's a lot of grade 2 listed buildings, and they're like, well,
yeah. Well, the thing with ramps, and I could talk about that for the whole podcast. But the thing with ramps, just that I want to say, is that they're cheap, they're easy to build at scale, and they don't break. And it's a very quick and easy fix that can completely change the lives of the people in the neighborhoods and the cities that you do it. So it's something I'm really passionate about, because it's such a small thing you can do that can completely change everything for some people.
it can. You don't realize how inaccessible a city is until you know somebody who is using a wheelchair. And then it's frankly frustrating to see the struggle they go through just to get from A to B.
Yes, it's all these small little things that are easy to fix, most of them.
Yes, absolutely. And going back to your agency, when you said it sort of got to a point where you weren't really enjoying it anymore, is that something that, is inevitable with any agency that a creative might build? I hear that a lot from founders. It gets to a point where you've done everything you set out to achieve, and then it's more of a grind.
It grew so fast, and it was hard to appreciate after a while how good we had it. And I just remember in the early days when there would be, if Apple called or Nike or some big company called and or emailed and we started working with them, it would be such a rush to get to work with these companies that I'd looked up to for a long time. And the projects were so exciting. But then it came to a point and I realized this the last years, when it didn't matter who we were working with. It didn't matter who the client was. It didn't really matter what the project was. I had a hard time getting excited about the work. And that's when I realized, and that's part of the reason, I sold. And I realized that I can't keep doing this. Although, looking back now, I think it's been 4 years and I'm sort of in the process of restarting the agency because I really enjoy that kind of work. I really, really enjoy working with extremely capable people on projects that are complicated and can potentially touch billions of people.
So something with a bit more purpose.
Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I'm going to build it slightly different to what I built before, but it's. I think I didn't fully realize. I think this is a very common thing. You don't, when you're in it, you don't fully appreciate what you have.
No.
It's that thing that nobody tells you that when you're living in the good old days.
When are the good old days?
It's right now. I think it's that's always the case. You always look back on what you had and realize that
you had it pretty good.
And you didn't see what you had.
This season of the Creative Beam podcast is sponsored by James Cropper, and its new colour source range is a game changer for designers. It gives you direct access to 50 carefully created shades with a choice of weights and textures straight from their Lake District mill. Beautiful, sustainable coloured paper made in Britain by experts who live and breathe colour. I think work can be definitely a drug. That rush that you talk about of the winning, the progress, overcoming obstacles, fixing things. It's a very satisfying career path, but, to be able to recognise where you get to a point where it's not satisfying anymore and potentially quite damaging to, our health, our time, or the burnout is real, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And I mean, that was part of it. I didn't have a partner. It was something I built on my own. Obviously with a lot of great people as employees, but it was still, that's different. And I didn't feel for the whole time that I ran it that there was any way for me to take a break.
Yeah.
And so I had to work through burnout multiple times, which I think ultimately led me to where, that's what led me to this position, this point of saying, there was nothing that happened that made me happy.
But it was successful. And what would you say was, because, why was it successful? Obviously yourself.
I think there's a combination of factors. It was, I had the right experience when I started it. I had been working in this field for a long time, and I took gradual steps to this point, even though I thought I knew more than I did, but I did know quite a bit. We were very lucky with timing. I moved to San Francisco in 2014, and that time was just an amazing time to have an agency, digital agency, especially in San Francisco. Got really lucky with some of the first clients we got really lucky with some of the first people we hired, and And then it was just the grind. It was getting up every day and deciding that the work came first, the quality of the work came first, and making decisions that were sometimes really hard to accomplish whatever the goal of the project was.
So you're back in Iceland, and now it's a case of, well, there are some aspects of that which I really enjoyed, but let's now try and carve a career out for myself that works for these other things as well, like family and spare
Yes,
time.
yeah,
And
yeah. I want to make sure that there's more stability, that it's built for the long term, and that I have a way to do this that doesn't completely engulf my life.
is it nice being home? Was it an easy decision going home?
Well, we moved back in COVID, and me and my wife, we had talked about this for a long time. That we never saw. We talked about this again and again. That we couldn't see that any way where we would move back. And then COVID came, and we were in San Francisco, and it was a very, very challenging time. Meanwhile, Iceland was going through obviously COVID as well, but it was handled very differently here, partly because it's an island, and we were able to go back, and it was just much more free. And so as COVID extended, we decided, okay, well, we're going to stay here. And then, the kids went to school, and sort of, a year or two later, it's a new routine.
Yeah, that freedom, gosh. We certainly handled things a lot differently in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it was really tough. I was in San Francisco. We basically spent, I think, 3 months inside an apartment,
Oh, gosh. With no balcony.
no balcony.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't good on our mental health, was it?
No, I think it was. I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know what could have been done differently, but it definitely felt like we suffered a lot more than we realized.
I think it's one of those things that we're all just quite happy to forget and move on from. And it's like,
Yeah,
everyone's like rolls their eyes and like, the C word.
yeah. It is. It is this thing that happened that nobody talks about.
Yeah. Strange old time. What do you think of Twitter's new boss? Into the frying pan.
Um, I think Twitter was never able to live up to its full potential as a company. And it started off with a big bang, and I think it was such a simple idea that really caught on, and it was in many ways great. And there's pros and cons to social media and Twitter, and I think it was kind of this beast that nobody really knew what to do with, and then it was taken off the market by someone that had a different vision for it, and I think he has executed on his vision for it. I think he has done what he wanted to do with it.
That's another name we don't mention.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people have different priorities,
Yeah.
and people see things differently. I think in general that's healthy. You don't have to agree with everyone.
No, exactly. Yeah. I'm not suggesting I think one way or the other. It's just interesting to get people's takes.
Yeah.
I'm very open-minded. There's a nuance, isn't there? That's the irony of talking about Twitter.
Yes, I mean it's this place where people, some certain kinds of people go to talk about issues, and it's a bit of a battleground, and I think that's what it's always been, and I think it's maybe become that even more, but I think that's intentional.
Yeah, it's caused a lot of polarization. They always regretted, Jack Dorsey always regretted the retweet, didn't he? The retweet button.
Yeah, I think, I mean, with looking back on any decisions you make as a leader in a company, I think you can always find things to regret.
Yes. And now Blue Sky. Have you got an account on Blue Sky?
I do have an account on Blue Sky. I'm not very active, and it's more than anything, it's just fatigue with there's so many platforms. It's impossible to really just having one is enough, more than enough. And so, yeah, I picked mine a while ago, and it's where I'm staying.
Good. I would love to know if you think social media is on the way out or whether you think it's changing.
I think social media is not on the way out. I think there's always going to be new. There's always going to be new challengers. There's always going to be something new that comes along. But I think as a model, it it financially is extremely successful, and it captures people's hearts and minds and time in a way that very few things do. And so I think it is, I don't see it going away. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. I think in many ways it's bad, but it's definitely staying.
Yeah, definitely. There's more message boards and private communities springing up, though. And is that
Yeah.
something would you be tempted to start a message board and be part of any communities online?
Not formal, more informal communities. I think but again, it's the same thing. It's just there's limited time that you have, and I've invested a fair amount of time into one platform, and I understand the rules of that platform, and learning new rules and new norms. I'm an old man.
You're not an old man. If you're an old man, I'm an old woman. Because I know how old you are, and you know how old I am. So come on, I'm just coming out of my teenage years.
Yeah, well, I'm too old. I'm an old dog. I'm too old to learn the tricks.
Our generation is the one that never grew up. Apparently, we're going to live forever.
That's Oasis.
I know. Just sprinkling in some because I know you're a big fan. I'm just keeping you happy. Do you
But I think
enjoy?
but I do, just commenting, I do think that's true. I think I definitely don't feel like I'm a grown up. I just feel old.
Yeah. Well, you've been through it, haven't you? You've been through it. It's not been easy for you. Was there ever a moment in your life where you thought maybe this isn't who I want to be?
Multiple times, yeah, and that's why I've keep switching who I am, and I think that's been a way for me to keep sane because I've had the ability to switch careers multiple times, and it's been really rewarding to try new things and with that also become a different person in my personal life.
Yeah. Do you think that we're entering the age of the creative generalist, or do you think that's all utter bollocks?
I don't know. I think there's room for both. I think there is room for a generalist, and I definitely consider myself a generalist. But I really enjoy working with a specialist, and I think a good team has a good mix of both. A generalist usually is someone who is able to see, know enough about certain things to maybe build, sort of collect the wisdom of the team together, and then you need really specialized, really smart people to, if you want to do something that's excellent. You need people that have spent a lot of time thinking about something, and I don't have the patience for it, so it's very good that someone else does.
Yeah. How do you find smart people?
I spend a lot of time talking to people. I spend a lot of time, reading books and reading different things, and when I find someone that I'm fascinated by, I often just reach out to them, and sometimes I respond.
Sometimes.
Hmm.
It's always the case. At least you try.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying.
Do you ever feel like your situation has held you back? Or do you feel like that's just like mostly people are held back by their own kind of lack of confidence, perhaps, or lack of trying?
I think in some ways, yes. I can definitely make a case for me using a wheelchair is limiting, but I think we're all limited, and I think what I decided a long time ago is not to use it as an excuse, and to make decisions that I want to make, and then figure out how to, to make them come true. And I think the limits that I see for most people, I'm not saying that I'm not one of them, but I definitely try and push against it. The limits I see in most people are mental. I think we all have these mental blocks that are stopping us from doing or becoming the people that we want to become.
Who do you want to become?
It changes. It definitely changes. It is something. Like I said before, I've kind of gone through my bucket list, and I've I've ticked off pretty much everything, and I'm right now in the process of figuring out, what is the next thing I want to become.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've done all your bucket list, you just need a new one.
I definitely need a new one. I need some things, and there. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Any ideas?
Well, you're going to go and see Oasis at Wembley. So I think that's definitely, maybe Glastonbury.
I've been to Glastonbury. Yeah, I'd love to go again. But yeah, I'm open. If anyone listening has thoughts and ideas, definitely send them to me.
I'd recommend a bungee jump, but it hurt my neck.
Is that the thing that actually caused your injury?
No, that's another injury. That's one I've
Okay.
lived with since I was 22.
Yeah, I went skydiving. I was always very afraid of heights, and that worked. I stopped being afraid of heights after that.
Brave. I don't think I could do that.
It was, yeah. I don't think I could do it now, but it worked at the time to sort of overcome this thing that I felt was holding me back.
Yeah, maybe learn a new instrument.
Yeah. The only problem is my hands. So I use a wheelchair, and it's because I have muscle dystrophy, and it's reached my hands,
Oh,
and
sorry.
it is becoming more challenging to do things with my hands. But there are things that I'm learning now that require less manual input to make sounds, and that's been really enjoyable.
Yeah, you could get one of those machines where you could sample your own voice and play around with that. That would be interesting.
I have one of those. Yeah, it's been very fun.
Great stuff. Great. Well, I hope you find more things to add to that list. I'll have a think myself and send you an email. Who's this friend that you've known since you were 5 who you're going to go and see Oasis with?
So yeah, we met at school. He is a chef now, and he is just this. I'm very lucky in that most of my friends, obviously, I've made some new ones, but I have a lot of friends since I was. One of my friends I met when I was 2, and then there's a few that I met when I was 6 when I started school, and then when I went to another school I was 13, and that's sort of my core friend group.
That's lovely. Not many people have that,
Yeah, I know. It's. I think it's rare, and I think it's precious, and I try and really work on those relationships, because those people are not. A lot of them are very unlikely friendships. Because it's 40 years ago, plus years ago, and so we've all gone in different directions in terms of our careers and our lives. But I think having that something to ground you is really, really precious.
Absolutely. No matter where life takes you, you've always got that crew that have known you since you were, in
Yeah.
nappies.
Yes.
And they know your bullshit, and they're not going to lie to you, and they're going to tell you what's what, and you're going to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good group.
Well, apart from those lovely people, what other bit of kindness have you experienced recently that really made you, take a step back?
I there's a lot to choose from, but I think the biggest one. My wife is an activist, and spends a lot of time, pushing for a better world, and I'm constantly inspired by her and her work. And she spends a lot of time with refugees and people from countries that are war torn, and she inspires me every day to push on to do better.
That's amazing. She sounds wonderful. You're very
Yes.
lucky.
Yeah.
Surrounded by a lot of love and friendship. It's good. It's good. What advice would you give to your younger self, Halli?
I think be less afraid. I was very afraid as a kid. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of loneliness. I was afraid of trying, really. I was I was afraid. And so I wish I could spend more time with that kid and help him understand that it's going to work out pretty well.
That's powerful. It really is. That's what I try and say to my little younger self. It's going to be okay, kid. Because we are our own worst enemies, aren't we? Because of things that have happened to us in the past.
Yeah, and I think, I do believe we all have different versions of ourselves living inside. And so, spending time talking to your younger self is important.
What's a good day look like to you now then, Halli?
It depends. It can be, sometimes a good day is just spent, I really like listening to audiobooks. And if I have a free day, like this week, yesterday, I had a lot of free time, and I was able to listen to almost a full book.
Great.
And as I was doing that, I was playing chess, and so that was a pretty nice day.
That sounds idyllic.
Yeah.
It sounds great. And concentrating on two very intense things, though,
Yeah, but it can also be just a fun project to work on, or spending time with my kids or my wife, or going to see Oasis, or playing video games, or I think there's if you seek out joy, there's a lot of it around.
Well, on that powerful note, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Halli, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Halli Thorleifsson for such a generous and honest conversation. There's a lot that stayed with me, not least that moment where he shared what he'd say to his younger self to reassure him that things would work out, and the quiet truth running through everything he said, that we only really get one life, and it's how we choose to show up every single day that shapes what it becomes. Whether it's choosing peace over anger, purpose over burnout, or kindness over ego, there's power in those small, consistent decisions. Yeah, it's not easy, but we do have that power to decide. So wherever you're listening from, I hope this one gave you something to think about, maybe even something to carry with you today. We'll be back with Halli on Thursday for our next edition of The Spark. Until then, have a great week. Thanks again to James Cropper for sponsoring this season of the Creative Boom podcast. Remember, its colour source range gives designers direct access to 50 beautiful shades and a choice of textures, all crafted in the Lake District and delivered straight to your door. Explore the collection and bring your next project to life at paperandpackaging.jamescropper.com.